And finally, you get this page where it lists all the different modules. Okay, in this particular case, if this page had continued, you'd see a whole bunch of other modules down here, listed 10 of them. The first one says, not started, click enter. So you click enter, and you can start to actually take the coursework. And there you are. The first thing you have to do is click on the integrity assurance statement, which says you're not cheating, having somebody else take it for you, et cetera, et cetera. Once you've done that, it'll allow you to, it'll highlight the next one, and you'll be able to click conflict of interest, read the material, answer the questions, and so on and so forth. When you complete that, it'll tell you your score was 100% or 60% or 80%. Don't have to get 80% on all of them, just overall. So you can get whatever you want on that, then go back into the next section. Eventually, though, you have to average, I believe you have to average 80%. So you may have to, if it gets close, you may have to go back and retake a module or something like that. Don't necessarily have to read every word in the module again. You can just go right back in and take the course. You'll actually, a lot of this stuff is stuff that, since you've worked in social sciences, may be obvious to you. Some of these modules you probably would be able to get 80% in without actually reading the material. You really should read it, though. It's really interesting material. Okay, finally, when you're all done, you agree. And when you're all done, this is kind of what one of the modules look like. Okay, except you'd see numerous pages of this material. Okay, and then this is what one of the quizzes looks like. They're all multiple choice. Okay, and then it'll give you some feedback on which answers you got correct and which you got incorrect. And that's what it'll look like if you've completed it. That first one was 80%. Now you're on to the next one. Finally, when you're all done, when you've completed all the modules and you're averaged 80%, then you get an opportunity to click, say, print out a certificate. And this is what the certificate will wind up looking like. That's the document I need you to print out and send to me. Okay, so that's the main bulk of your homework for this week. That's probably going to take you about 3 hours. I'm going to give you an assignment that has a little bit of other stuff on it that's pretty simple, I hope, and that you won't have too much problem with. Okay? Anybody have any questions on that?
Can I ask?
Sure.
Because I've done this before, but can I ask you after class?
About what?
I just can't figure out how I add. Do I have to should I re-affiliate with?
With Hunter?
Or can I just use?
I think you can just use it if it's the same. If it's also human research, as long as it's not one of the other modules like animal research or something like that. Yeah, I don't think that's an issue.
How to add from there.
Yeah, I think you could just take the refresher and stick with the original institution.
Okay.
Okay.
I just don't see what I'll add.
You go add a course or update your learner group,
Yeah.
and then take human subjects refresher, I think. Is that it?
Yeah, that's human subjects refresher. Yes.
I don't have that.
You don't have that.
I took one in 2011.
And what was the module?
8/8/2011.
No, I meant it was not human subjects though.
No, I have investigators research.
No, you got to do human. It's got to be human subjects.
Or I have human subjects.
Yeah, you need to do human subjects. Okay? Okie doke. Because that's the whole point of this. We're concerned about what you're going to do to our poor subjects and patients and other students and stuff like that when you start experimenting on them. Okay? That's our main concern here. Okay, so at any rate, in this lab, we're going to be dealing with software. In order to do a lot of the calculations that we're going to need to do for this course and that are going to be important to you going on in this course and other courses that involve statistics, epidemiology, and so on and so forth, we're going to try and get familiar with at least one software package that's specific to statistics and another software package that's used for a lot of applications for organizing data and for doing calculations and stuff like that. So traditionally in this course we've been using Excel and SPSS. How many of you used SPSS before? How about how many of you used how many of you used another statistical package besides SPSS? SAS? Anybody SAS? Department of Health I know uses SAS. Nobody, eh? Okay, so if you're familiar with SPSS, you got a big jump. Excuse me?
No, I was saying, I think I used it when I did my first degree in business.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking today, I was like, I think I used that a long time ago.
Oh, okay. SPSS has many applications. What's that?
How long has it been around?
SPSS? Oh, at least 30 years,
Okay.
25, 30 years, I would say, at least. It's owned by IBM. IBM bought it up about 10 years ago, so now it's called IBM SPSS. Okay, that stands for Statistical Package for the Social Sciences is what that stands for. They dropped that name for a while, and then they brought it back again the past year or two. So we're up to version 21. Okay, so now in order to work with SPSS, you're going to need access to it. SPSS is on all these computers. It's on virtually all of the computers in the computer labs throughout Hunter. However, our experience is that if you don't have it, some other access to it at home, at work or something like that, somewhere where you don't have to go out of your way to get to it, you're really going to struggle in this course. So you'll notice the textbook is optional. It's not required. But SPSS and the software you're going to need, Excel, is required, because our experience is that you really need that stuff. There's so much in the way of resources on the internet, the material we're going to be giving you and stuff like that, that the textbook is becoming almost secondary. But this software really is going to help you out. And usually my experience in the past is the people that really are going to fall behind in SPSS are the people that are the last to buy it. Right? Now, SPSS costs about $1,000 for the base package and a couple of modules or something like that. Students can rent it for, the cheapest price that I've seen is $40, including a download fee or something like that, for a 6-month license. Okay, there's a link on Blackboard. You can, or if you want to go on your own, there's a site called onthehub.com. onthehub.com. If you just, in the search, just type in SPSS, it'll take you to SPSS, and there'll be Mac versions and PC versions, and there'll be a number of them that are available discounted for students. The cheapest version of it is the one that will get you through this course. That's about $40. There's another one with a 6-month license, which is about $55, which has a couple of add-ons for regression, logistic regression, so on and so forth. I think, unfortunately, I can't download what they're giving you guys as the base module now, because they won't let me. They know I'm faculty, and they won't let me download that version. So I'll have to look over your shoulders. If you think you're going to get a little adventurous, you're going to do stuff on your own, you might want to go for the $55 version. But for this course, I think the $40 version will get you through, okay, if you need it. So you really should consider doing that this week, downloading it, getting it onto your computer, play with it a little bit, just make sure it runs and so on and so forth. Their support is usually pretty good. They even have a phone number, I believe, that you can call if you have problems with installation. One caveat, make sure you download the correct version for your machine, because they're going to have Mac and PC versions and various operating system versions and stuff like that. Just make sure you get the right version for your operating system. Okay, and I believe the Mac version tends to lag a little bit. It's actually right up to date. I think it'll work with 10.8 and 10.7 and 10.6 and so on. Maybe not 10.5, but all of the operating systems from the last 3 years. Okay, anybody have any, think they're okay with that? Okay, know what we're going to do? How many of you have Excel or have access to Excel? Okay, pretty much everybody, right? Because you get that Microsoft Office package, so you need for Word and stuff like that, so you wind up getting it without really wanting it. How many of you really haven't used it very much? Okay, we're going to learn how to use Excel. And I get a lot of feedback from instructors further up the line that, we really want these guys to know Excel, because when they get to our class, we want them to do calculations. We don't want them to fall behind and so on and so forth. So we're going to make sure that you're up to date in Excel as well. Okay, so let's get to software. Yes?
I just have one thing. Maybe everybody else has figured this out too, but although the textbook is very expensive, there are used versions online for $5.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And there's actually, the current edition, I think, is 3rd edition. And 2nd or 3rd edition is fine. Doesn't matter what edition you pick up.
I think it's the second that's very cheap.
Yeah, if you pick up a used copy, and it doesn't have the CD that comes with it, with the data files and stuff like that, let me know and I'll get you the data files. Okay, so if you're a little trepidatious about ordering a used copy, let me know and I'll make sure you have that data file. Okay, so let's talk about software. Now, when I was doing this, when I was taking this course, This is the machine that I use to do my calculations right here. Right? That's a mechanical calculator. You put in the numbers, and it doesn't just, it adds, multiplies, it actually does squares as well. It's got a little engine in it. At one time, they used to have cranks and stuff like that, but I'm more advanced than that. They had that. So literally, when I took my statistics course, we had a classroom with like about 40 of these things. Hi, Diane. And
The right place, 750 section 1?
this is 750 section 1, yes. Come on in, make yourself at home. My name's Tony DeVito. Before you go upstairs, see me for a few minutes. I'll catch you up, okay? Okay, no. Okay, have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. So that's ancient history now, okay? Within a year of this, actually around the same time that we were working with this, I saw the first electronic calculator. It was before Texas Instruments. I saw a Wang, I forget what number, 550 or something like that. It was this big thing that had Nixie tubes. Yeah, you guys know what Nixie tubes are? They're these glow tubes where the numbers kind of like are filaments and stuff like that. And as they change, I'm sure you kind of seen them in old science fiction movies and stuff like that. But they're like glowing numbers instead of LEDs, glowing wires for the numbers instead of LEDs. And that was like, they told us that cost 10 grand. They had it in a room on a desk and, with the wire in the window so nobody would go in there and touch it and stuff like that. So it was so expensive and stuff. But within a year or two of this, they were, Texas Instrument came out with, I guess, the TI-19 or something like that, one of the first cheap electronic calculators, and we forgot about this thing. This thing was left in the dust. Speaking of which, next thing, the other thing that we used to use back in those days, here's another relic I brought in to give you an idea of how things have changed. Okay, this is a slide rule. How many of you have ever used a slide rule? There, one person, 2 people. Terrific. I'm glad to see it. Here, you can pass that around. Take a look at it. If anybody's interested, I'll show you how that thing works later on. But that went away with the instrument, with the calculator, electronic calculator as well. So now we have not just electronic calculators. We have computers that'll do all sorts of operations for us. So this is old hat. Okay, now, one of the most useful pieces of software that come along was spreadsheet software. Originally, people used to organize data into columns and rows so they could keep track of it. Names and phone numbers might be in columns and rows. Each person would be in a row. Their address would be in one column and so on and so forth. Most accounting was debit and credit accounting, where they would keep credits in one column and debits in another column and add them all up from one page to another and so on and so forth. These guys over here invented the first electronic spreadsheet program. It took what accountants and scientists and engineers were doing on ledger paper with rows and columns, and it transferred it into what you see as Excel today. This first program that was commercially available was a program called Visicalc. If we have time, I'm going to play you a little video about it. Okay, so that changed everything. That gave us a tool that allowed us to do calculations visually on a computer, to enter numbers, to add them up, to perform operations on them, to change numbers, and see what kind of effect our changes on those numbers had to the final result. So this type of software, this spreadsheet, is universally useful. It's useful in engineering, it's useful in science, it's useful in statistics, and so it's a valuable tool. It's useful for keeping your budget, it's useful for all sorts of things. Okay, so it's really going to be of some value to you to learn this stuff. The next thing that we're going to kind of get involved with is databases. Databases are just simply programs that organize information, that keep lists, keep data, or give you a chance to sort it, to organize it, to be able to access it quickly and efficiently. Excel, as a spreadsheet, in some ways has some properties that allow you to use it as a database. SPSS has some properties that allow you to use it as a database to organize data and find data quickly. Okay, you can go through, this is a PDF file. You can actually sit there and read, if you have nothing to do, you're bored and stuff like that, you can actually read what I've written here. So, but I'm going to give you the basics of it. Okay, we're going to actually open a couple of things now and play with them a little bit. Okay. I don't know what that is. I'm just going to say no.